It is very exciting being part of such an iconic story because of the crew we're working with, the people we're working with. Everybody's so professional, and people are just so good. And you come to set, and everything's prepared, and you just get into this world. And I mean, you look around and you think, wow, it's amazing, and I'm allowed to be here, and that's just fun. I'm playing the Wicked Witch of the East, and she is the mistress of the Eastern Woods, and she's one of the cardinal witches. She has witches in all different directions, sisters. And yeah, she is merciful. She is very stern. She doesn't trust anyone. She's very paranoid, so she doesn't trust her sisters. And she's just always looking around knowing or wanting to know what's going on, especially with the way how the story starts. You know, something big happens, and we all are like, what is going on? This story or the journey of my character, she is a witch. She was born a witch, and she lives at a place where she's not allowed to use her powers because somebody, the wizard, forbid it. And she has sisters, but we all live under the same rules. We're not allowed to use our powers. And this is a little bit the story like where science and magic fight against each other, and you want to know who wins. Well, I got this phone call where somebody asked me about my measurements, and you think like, oh, okay, so it's another costume that you're going to get. And then I flew to Budapest, and I tried on the first part of the costume. At that time, everything was still white, and they were still trying to figure out how is it going to look like, what kind of material is it going to be. And now I'm sitting here, and it just feels amazing. Like, it's like a frame. I mean, like when you wear this costume, there are certain things you cannot do anymore. But I mean, like, look at these gauntlets. Yeah, they're like a second skin. And if you see like how my hands move, they move with my hands, and it's just amazing, and you just feel very powerful. Well, when I get into my costume, that is like a journey. Like it takes a few minutes until I'm inside. But each piece that you put on brings you more, or brings the East up in me. Like, especially when I finish with the gauntlets. Like when I wear everything, I finally am the character. Like you come in your sweatpants and you're just moving like this, and then you put on this robe, and then you think, oh, I want to move in a different way, and it's just nice. Well, I'm very excited to see how everything's going to look like after visual effects because, like, for example, the scenes that I shot, you come to the location and you see what's around you, and of course, you use what you have. But then they tell you, yeah, but imagine there's going to be wind and you're going to see them from the far. And I mean, for me, it's easy to imagine, but you still have no idea. And then you have people that tell you, like, oh my God, we saw what you just shot and the final product. And I'm just excited. Like, I have absolutely no idea, but people say that it's amazing. I'm very excited for the audience to see the show, and they will see things that they haven't seen before. Like when I found out, okay, I'm going to do Emerald City, I thought, okay, so what is it going to be about? And I knew the musical, The Wizard of Oz, but we're not doing the musical. You will see certain characters, and they relate to that, of course, but then they're completely different. And I mean, it starts already with Toto. You know, like you always think about this little dog in the musical, and then you come here and the little dog is not that little. So these are things where I'm like, it's the people will see things that they just don't expect, things that I don't expect, and I'm still blown away. Well, What I love about Dorothy is you will see, or the audience will see Dorothy, and they might still think about how we've been seeing her in the past in other movies or productions. And the Dorothy that I know is a very strong woman, somebody. I wouldn't say I get intimidated by her because I'm a witch and I think nothing is higher than a witch. But then there's still this young woman, and obviously she's coming from this different world, and she doesn't know who's sitting across from her. So people will see not this cute girl. So there's not going to be Bambi walking in. She's tough, she's strong, and she goes on a journey. She doesn't know what's going to happen. You know, she comes from a normal life. She doesn't really know yet what she wants to do, and then she gets into our world and everything changes, and you or she experiences situations like life and death, for example. You know, she gets threatened, she has to make fast decisions, and it's completely something we don't expect, and there's a lot coming from her. Well, what I love about the show is and about the cast is that we're coming from everywhere in the world. And like when we had the first read through and you sit with everybody at a table and you look around and everybody looks so different and you ask people, where do you come from? And you're like, oh my God, we all meet here in order to do this project. For me, coming from Germany, I think it's going to be so interesting, or I feel like home. Oz feels like home because people are from everywhere. We don't always get along, depending on where in Oz you live. But we all know, all the people that work in the show, we know what it feels to be different, to not be the same like the person who's sitting next to me. And that is like life, you know, like we are in different places in Oz. We sometimes speak different languages, and we need to communicate. We need to be one. Working with Tarsem is fun. Like, I remember my very first day when I walked on stage and I saw him, and I thought, wow, he's amazing because he's somebody, he will tell you what he wants. And I love the language that he uses. He's very straightforward, and I think, I don't know, maybe it can be intimidating, I don't know. But for me, I feel very safe because I know that I can trust him, and he's very open when you come with other ideas, or when you think, oh, but I see it in a different way and I would like to try it like this or like that, and I am very grateful. Well, East, the Wicked Witch of the East, she controls the weather, so she can summon a tornado, for example, every time she wants to. She is also capable of hurting people, moving people in positions without touching them, but this is something that she's not allowed to do because the wizard doesn't allow any form of magic in Oz.